Oh boy, that has never been more valid than now. For reasons best known to themselves and whatever demonic sources advise them to do this, America and Israel have started a full-on war with Iran.
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed, and anyone who gets in the way, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall.
And they killed Ayatollah Khamenei and also former President Ahmadinejad. I like that guy. He was cool. He used to quote Tupac on his Twitter. And he was a big fan of Malcolm X. And, he was cool, Anyway, they killed him. What they kill him for? He's retired. Right now, the reason why bombs are flying back and forth is because America and Israel went to Iran, talked about peace, and then stabbed these people in the back.
Only the United States of America could lead this. Only us.
How do we think we have, and I say we because obviously Britain, I'm not even sure if Keir Starmer knows what he's doing, because did you see that interview?
But on Iran, I want to make clear.
He was like, we said we weren't going to do it, but we will do what we did, but we did not know a lot of people don't realize is that the first bombs that landed on Iran hit a girls' school that killed over 135 young girls, children, and also the bomb that killed Ayatollah Khamenei also killed his wife, his daughter-in-law, his son-in-law, and his 14-month-old granddaughter. But that's okay. That doesn't count because obviously it was the bad guys that got, right?
The world is as angry as it gets.
Where have we seen children being killed one ton before? Oh yeah, that's right, that little patch, that little country that's becoming smaller and smaller and no one's talking about right now because this war is going on. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, but Ayatollah Khamenei was a bad man. Was Ayatollah Khamenei on Epstein Island? How many countries did Khamenei invade? Have you even seen the footage of when Khamenei was sworn in to become the spiritual ruler of Iran? He didn't want to do it. He literally said to the council, you guys all disagree with my politics. I don't want this job. And they said, no. Because you're so stubborn, that's why we think you're the guy. And Khamenei puts his hand in his face and does this. This is the international dad expression of, oh shit. Before Ayatollah Khamenei was killed, people said nobody's going to mourn his death. We've now seen that is a lie. There are way more supporters of him than there were detractors in Iran. And yes, the feelings of those who do not like the Islamic Republic of Iran's government, they're fully valid. But I'm just saying anybody that is wishing for the Shah to come back to Iran needs to get their head examined because let's look at this now. Before the Shah, there was a democratically elected president, Mossadegh, who was doing well for Iran. And the CIA and Mossad and them got him out. And they put in the Shah, who had a whole secret police that specialized in torturing people that was funded by the CIA. The guy, the descendant, I don't know whether he's the son or grandson of the former Shah of Iran, who they're trying to place in Iran now to rule Iran, even though he's never lived in Iran, never done an honest day's work in his life, except live off of embezzled money from his daddy. These Nepo babies, eh? There is a very, very Eurocentric, Orientalist view of governments that have certain rules different from here. So because, for example, women have to wear hijabs in certain parts of Iran and whatnot, but that's oppression. And I hear that because people shouldn't be forced to wear anything. Men should not force women to wear anything. I fully understand that. I've got daughters, I understand that. However, why don't they ever talk about how the Shah did the opposite and had hijabs and clothes ripped off of women who chose to be religious, and how he persecuted the religious majority of Iran and the poorer people in the southern parts of Iran and the anti-Western people in Iran? Because remember, the Shah of Iran pretty much sold out Iran to Western powers. In fact, in a rare moment of clarity, Boris Johnson sat down and gave a whole explanation as to how England is directly responsible for not only the problems in Iran, but the problems in Palestine too.
Clearly, Iran, as President Rouhani has said, made a terrible mistake.
Like when you have a toddler and sometimes they stop babbling and they say one sentence that makes sense, then go back to blah, blah, blah.
That you had.
That's what Boris Johnson did in an unprecedented interview, talking about how Iran was basically being shafted by the West. Let's look at statistics. Under Ayatollah Khamenei, Iran still had high education. They had a high standard of living until US created sanctions, crippled their economy. That wasn't down to him and his policies. That was down to America doing to them what they did to Cuba, which right now they're doing even worse things to Cuba, but nobody's paying attention because of all this war. You know, again, Western media loves to portray predominantly Muslim nations as backwards, uneducated, oppressive. How have they had so much development? They're probably the only country in the world outside of Russia that we've seen go blow for blow with the combined might of Israel and America. They have intelligence service that rivals both countries. They've outsmarted both countries. How many countries has Iran nuked? How many countries has Iran colonized? None. But the people who are telling us that they are bad, look at their track record. I'm not saying that Ayatollah Khamenei was perfect, nor will I criticize him because it's a very sensitive time. This man was the equivalent of the Pope to a sect of Islam. But even this shows the lack of intelligence of Western forces. Muslims as a whole, we don't fear death. That is true. No practicing Muslim fears death. But you see, with Shias, it's different. Shias have a connection to martyrdom like Catholics do to guilt. Shias have pictures of martyrs in their homes. It is a big part of their faith. It is a huge honor. A Shia may not blow himself up, but he'll run into a battle outnumbered and scream, Ya Ali Madad. They mourn the descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who were all assassinated brutally and betrayed. And Ayatollah Khamenei, who was 86, he wasn't a radical. In fact, he was holding back the more radical elements of Iranian politics. He was the one that made it possible for people to have peace discussions. Say what you will of their policies. He was not the warmonger that people make him out to be, because if he was, he'd be doing what they're doing now a long time ago. The last thing that you needed to do to immortalize him and strengthen his regime was turn him into a martyr. And you just did. So in a faith where a lot of their big saints were killed in a cowardly way, stabbed in the back and so on, you kill their spiritual leader by bombing him and his family right after having peace talks with his people. And he was the one holding them back. Now the guy who's taken over, he's not just a guy that hates America in the way that everybody hates America, you know? Everyone hates America, but will drink Coca-Cola and have a McDonald's. Everybody hates America who comes from a country that's anti-capitalist. Everybody who isn't American, you know, it's fashionable to hate America. No, he hates America in the way that someone lost his sister-in-law, his brother-in-law, his niece, and his dad on the same day who hate America. And now who is going to tell them not to do whatever it is they plan on doing? And China has openly said that they are arming Iran. You know how messed up you must be for China to finally stop sitting on the fence and actually physically do something against you. Like, okay, now you go too far. Hey, I'm allowed to do the accent because Black Peng said I am.
In UK, I find it's really hard for me to make friends here because of the racism, because I hate white people. So
It's suspected now that Iran has bunker buster missiles because America dropped a few on Iranians that did not blow up, and now all of a sudden they're able to do it. 3 fighter jets have been shot down that were American fighter jets. Friendly fire 3 times in a row against some of the most advanced fighter jets in the world is very unlikely. American generals are not happy with Donald Trump. Nobody is.
I've never walked into a room so silent before.
This guy came out to an audience full of them, and they didn't give him a round of applause.
And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room.
This is a guy that came out and talked about neocons ruined America by going into wars and damaging advanced societies that they know nothing about. But then he's got a lot of the same neocons funding his war against Iran, including one of George Bush's brothers, apparently. Everything that he said, from the deep state.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption.
To sexual perversion and blah, blah, blah. It's just been a cover. And that brings me to the last thing. What pictures? What do they have in those Epstein files that's making you go to war against Iran? What were you doing? Punching puppies in the dick? They're already saying that you were SAing children. What could you possibly have been doing where they've got you by the balls like this, my guy? This is terrible. Unless Iran suddenly surrenders and says, okay, you know what? Not only will we allow you guys to put a new leader in place, RuPaul's Drag Race can be done in Tehran. Unless that happens, there is no way that Donald Trump is ever regaining his reputation. So, in addition to things, Iran has now closed the Hormuz Strait. It's not good. It's not good at all. And then, you know, Aramco refinery in Saudi has gone boom boom. And there's some footage online of a guy driving, and he says the missile that hit Aramco came from there.